In order of importance: hire quality developer, ensure quality delivery, working hours overlap, common language and English proficiency, communication tools, systematic processes, fair payment term. That's all you need. If you get them right and still end up with shit offshore developers, it can only mean one thing: you didn't get them right. This video is going to make sure that doesn't happen. How does a non-technical founder manage a team of developers on the other side of the world? Frankly speaking, you don't. You can't. So then, should you still hire offshore? Absolutely. Hear me out. You gotta remember that most offshore software development projects are successful. If they weren't, outsourcing just wouldn't be a thing. As long as you avoid really obvious mistakes, and I'll cover some in this video, the odds are in your favor. So, when a non-technical founder says, I need an offshore team I can manage, what they're really saying is, I need an offshore team I can trust. And not blindly trust. You want the kind of trust where you know you can contact them and get an update right now. But you choose not to, because what would be the point? You'd just be distracting them from work. You know they're working because you can see that they are working. You don't want to manage your developers. You want to manage the project. If there's anything you need to know, you know. You don't want to be chasing after them and hearing stupid excuses. Hey, how come you haven't finished this update?
Oh, sorry, my dog ate my computer.
Not to toot my own horn that much, but my agency is based in Malaysia and we serve international clients all the time. They don't appreciate us because they can manage us, but because we can manage ourselves and demonstrate it to them through collaborative planning, clear action items, and open line of communications. Let's expand on the 7 factors mentioned at the start. Number 1, hire quality developer. If you get this part wrong, nothing else matters. Hire monkeys and they will drive you bananas. I've got an entire video on how to sniff out less than ideal developers. You can check it out later. For now, be sure to check out a developer's website, customer reviews, and especially their portfolio. Do they have a history of delivering similar apps or software products to what you want to build? If their portfolio looks promising, try to sign up for a free strategy session with their team to assess whether you communicate well and if they can provide the level of guidance you may need. Do they believe in going lean, or do they seem eager to get you spending as soon as possible? Action item: check their portfolio to see if they can deliver. Our portfolio's in the description for reference. Sign up for a free strategy session, or better yet, product road mapping workshop. If they don't have free sessions, ask for a 2 to 3 week trial period to see if you work well together. Number 2, ensure quality delivery. Now you have a developer that can deliver good work. Make sure they actually deliver good work. Here's the thing you should do from the start to send the right message. Whenever updates are ready, test and verify every feature to ensure quality. There will be bugs. Report them and make sure they are handled. Once they are supposedly handled, test again to verify. Speak to your project manager if fixes keep getting delayed or overlooked. The message you will send: I'm not unreasonable and I respect you, but I expect good work. Developers aren't perfect and we miss things from time to time. Having another layer of verification goes a long way to make sure your app is delivered on time and up to standard. To hold us accountable, the next 5 factors comes into play, starting with number 3, time difference management. Editor, map me. Say you live in Sydney, Australia. You have a 14-hour difference with Brazil and a 3-hour time difference with Malaysia. You want a meeting schedule that's predictable, meaning there's a set time everyone agrees to. Sustainable, meaning everyone can obey this schedule for the duration of the project. The bigger the time zone difference, the more everyone has to compromise. You don't want late night or early morning meetings for anyone. That person is either half dead or half asleep. Either way, you're talking to a zombie. This is where a few months into the project, you'll join a meeting and go, hey, where's that guy?
Oh, that guy? That guy couldn't make it. By the way, that guy not gonna make it for 80% of the future meeting because he's asleep.
Action item. A regular meeting shouldn't take longer than an hour. So make sure your usual working hours at the very least have an hour's overlap between them. Problem solved. You can use a scheduler like World Time Buddy for this. It lets you easily see time differences between time zones and set up meetings during overlapping office hours via Google Calendar or Microsoft Outlook. Hey guys, Upstack Studio is based in Malaysia and our rates are pretty average for the Asian region. If it makes financial sense for you to outsource your app development project to us, leave us a comment and I'll get back to you. Otherwise, I would really appreciate it if you would subscribe and like this video. Now for number 4, language barrier. Your team and their team must have a common language at the very least. Doesn't have to be English, it can be Spanish, Russian, Mandarin, whatever. But I think you should prioritize English. And I wouldn't personally feel comfortable hiring developers without decent English fluency. Most major software is written in English. Most official and community tech support is dominated by English. Many API for integrations are written in English. A developer who wants to create industry standard code needs to understand English. Developer plus really poor English is a recipe for spaghetti code. When they troubleshoot, instead of using standard solutions, they use their own custom code that no one else understands. It might work then, but it's almost never ideal and can bite you later down the line. Switch developers and you find out that your source code is actually source code. Get it? Because of spaghetti sauce, spaghetti code. Anyways, action item. Make sure you share a common language. The developers have decent English. Remember, you don't need extremely fluent speakers. That was me trying a posh British accent. Did I nail it? Pretty sure I nailed it. But if they can't even hold a simple conversation, sorry, red flag for me. Number 5, communication and task management tools. Since you'll be separated by thousands of miles, communication and task management tools go from important to crucial. Offshore or not, a development team will need tools to cover these functions: project management, visual brainstorming, instant messaging, and online video calls. At Upstack Studio, we use ClickUp to manage projects item by item. We track short-term goals and long-term milestones and identify tasks behind schedule and who's responsible. When everyone's done except you, you know everyone can see it. Shit gets done fast. Like the rest of the world, we love using Figma to show clients design mockups and wireframes. Really helpful how you can click into buttons and navigate your app through the user interface. We use Slack for our instant messaging needs. We create a dedicated channel for each client to spare them the hundreds of memes from our Upstackers. If you need to speak to us in between our scheduled meetings, you can find us here. And for our fortnightly meetings, we use Google Meet because we like Google Meet. I think it helps that you don't need to download a client to get the full experience. We are happy, clients are happy, and there are tons of other software options. It doesn't really matter which a developer uses as long as that function is covered. You should be able to track progress of action items and access documents whenever you want without having to wait for your developers. We have no problem. It's less work for us. Action item, make sure your developer has a tool that covers these functions: project management with item by item breakdown, visual brainstorming including designs, mockups and wireframes, instant messaging, online video calls. Number 6, project review process. I'm partial to agile methodology and so are most developers. It's not always the case, but it's such an effective process that you'll find it all over the world. But any legit developer will prepare a scope of work and project roadmap where they lay out your ultimate vision for the project, order of steps to take, progress milestones the team can expect, and estimated time and resource cost. This is what you will see on a project management tool: the roadmaps, action items, broken down into individual tasks. Now we can make sure we're on schedule, and if not, why? No roadmap, no deal. Simple as that. You want to sit down with your developer at regular intervals to review progress. Maybe you want to change priorities, maybe you want to launch sooner, or maybe everything is going perfectly and everyone just needs to keep doing what they're doing. Personally, my agency does this once every 2 weeks. We're all about agile and we find it's the perfect amount of time in between meetings, gives us time to do work and actually have progress updates. Depending on the type of app and where in the development process it is, you may need more or less frequent meetings. What matters is that you can see your developers is intentional about meeting frequency. It's not just random, or worse, only when you remind them. Ask them early on what meeting schedule and project review process is like, and whatever they promise to do, hold them to it with number 7, pre-agreed terms and conditions. You want the assurance of timely and quality service. Developers want the assurance of getting paid. Sounds like the beginning of a beautiful relationship. There's a contract, but let's be real. Depending on enforcement in their country, breaching a contract may have 0 consequences. Did I say may? More likely will be 0 consequences. I think this is the root of founders' concern. What can you do if your offshore team just take your money and disappears? I empathize with you. I really do. I have the same fear in reverse. What if our client takes our code and disappears? You may be thinking, of course I'll pay. How dare you? And I'm sitting here thinking, of course we'll do the work. How dare you? Frankly, We're both just rightfully cautious. Because we, like the majority of founders and developers, are honest people. And honest people don't want one-sided terms. Dishonest people don't give a shit. They'll agree to anything because they're going to breach it anyway. With our personal clients, we ask for 20 to 30% of the initial estimate depending on complexity. We need that initial payment because we're going to invest man-hours into building your software. And small businesses like mine lives or die on cash flow. If you're happy with our work, then we negotiate a pay-as-you-go arrangement moving forward that looks something like this. We invoice every 2 weeks. If 2 invoices go unpaid, we stop work. We hold on to the latest code until payment is fulfilled. I suggest you do this with any software development outsourcing project. It's as fair as it gets. Nobody is overexposed and both sides have an incentive to hold up their end of the bargain. Action item: offer up to 30% of development cost upfront for initial work and negotiate a reasonable pay-as-you-go system if your developers deliver on your expectation and you want to keep working with them. To reiterate, when you're thinking of how to manage your offshore software development team, you're actually thinking about an offshore team capable of managing themselves. Ask any successful founder, the last thing they want is a tech team that suddenly needs micromanagement. I don't just mean from a technical standpoint, even from a communications and team discipline point of view. You're paying them. Why babysit them? There's a key word in there: paying them. Are you tempted to commit one of the greatest sins of offshore software development? Prioritizing bottom-of-the-barrel prices. See, even God is angry. Listen, you chip out, you get a terrible team, whichever country you hire from. You go offshore to get high-quality expertise at a lower price. If the expertise it's not worth the price. My team works fully remote. If I had to manage them all, we wouldn't get any work done. I choose people with high accountability and autonomy. I know they are hard at work, so I, as a founder, am at peace as I sunbathe by the pool, drop by the golf club, and do some shopping. Editor, can you put a Rolex on my hand? I know the perfect video for you to watch. You'll find a million software development fails on Reddit. I made a video reacting to a particular tragic one, but these guys were just asking for it. It's like when you go to those F1 rallies and instead of a race, you get to see a massive pile-up where all the cars crash into each other. It hurts to watch, but you just can't look away. Please subscribe, grab some popcorn, and I'll see you in that video.